Welcome into Celtics Today. I am Will Scott. On today's show, we're going to be talking about some Celtics free agency and trade targets, breaking down 6 players for the Celtics to target. But first, go down and subscribe to the channel. If you're coming across our page for the first time, welcome. If you're a Celtics fan, I can promise you are in the right place. Subscribe for Celtics news and Celtics rumors videos. Let's get into what Ime Udoka, Celtics head coach, said at the Summer League the other night about what the Celtics' next move could be. We talked about another big, another possible wing. We're just monitoring everything we're doing here, taking a good look at our guys. Obviously, Sam Hauser has been signed already. For us, it's best available wing possibly. You always like to add shooting, but another big will be a premium for sure. So let's talk about another big. That is Hassan Whiteside. This would be a free agent target for the Celtics, and he is my number one free agent target for the C's to go out and get. A shot-blocking machine, his average 2.2 blocks per game in his 10-year career. The Celtics pride themselves on defense. He is very, very high quality on the defensive end. Played on the vet minimum last year in Utah. Might play on the vet minimum again for Boston if the Celtics were to sign him. I'm sure he wants to go out and compete for a ring, be on a contender. No shot he returns to Utah. Was backup center for the Jazz last season, averaging 17.9 minutes per game, so he's used to that backup center role. He's going to have no problem coming to Boston, being the backup to Robert Williams III. Here's what he did last season in Utah. 65 games played, 8.2 points per game, 7.6 rebounds per game, 1.6 blocks per game, 65% from the floor. I really like Whiteside, and I think he's the perfect fit for the Celtics. They need a backup center, number one. If they sign a backup center, I guarantee you they prefer for him to be high quality on the defensive end. That is exactly what Whiteside provides, and he would be cheap. Those 3 things make Whiteside the perfect fit in Boston. Now, do you want to sign Hassan Whiteside? Type S for sign or type P for pass down in the comments section. If you're like me, you're spamming S down in the chat. Go down and show me how much you want Hassan Whiteside in Beantown. Let's get into a shooter now. That is Jordan Clarkson. He is a trade candidate. Now, Utah, what is going on in Utah? In the words of Brian Windhorst, they are blowing it up. Donovan Mitchell could be moved at any second. And Shams Charania 2 nights ago reported that everybody on the Jazz roster is not safe. Anybody could be moved, Clarkson included. Here's what he did with the Jazz last season. Very durable player, barely missed any time. 16 points per game, 2.5 assists per game, shot 31.8% from 3. I like Clarkson, and it's worth noting he would fit in to the Celtics TPE, which is huge and makes a trade possible. Would you trade for Clarkson? This is someone who could come off the bench for the Celtics as a 3-point shooter. Type Y for yes or type N for no. Down in the comments section, it is worth noting that if you trade for Clarkson, you're probably going to have to give up a guy like Peyton Pritchard. Go down in the comments section, sound off. Another big man we're going to talk about is LaMarcus Aldridge, who is still out there for the taking, still available in free agency. I don't know if returning to the Nets is an option for him at this point, but it's interesting because he retired last year due to an irregular heartbeat, but returned to the Nets last season and was stellar for Brooklyn. Here's what he did in 47 games. 13 points per game, nearly 5.5 rebounds per game, 55% field goal percentage, 1 block per game. I think he exceeded expectations. I think all of us thought he wasn't going to play basketball again. He comes back and does that, so he is a very, very decent option for the Celtics when you're talking about big man to go out and get. But because of the health concerns, because he's aging, he's a little bit of a risk. What's not a risk is this deal we're giving you on Chat Sports, because it is a great deal. Go and take advantage of it. Chatsports.com/Tatum to pick you up your fresh Jason Tatum jersey. Been telling my bosses, keep it on sale, keep it on sale. We need more subscribers to go down and take advantage. You can do that right now. Chatsports.com/Tatum. That link in the comments and the description of this video. Our next target we're going to be breaking down is Montrezl Harrell, who a lot of y'all have been saying, Will, why aren't you talking about this guy? Why aren't you talking about this guy? So here you go. Hope you're happy. We're finally going to talk about bringing in Harrell as a possible backup center. And I really like Harrell. To be honest, the reason that he hasn't been on my free agent target list before is because I think he's a little bit pricey. But he's a backup center option because that's the role he's used to. Just 29 games that he started in his career, and he's played in 458 games. So I don't think he'd have a problem being the backup center in Boston. That's what he's really been throughout his entire career. Durable player. Here's what he did in Charlotte after he was moved. Started the year in Washington with the Wizards. 13.1 points per game, 6.1 rebounds per game. I really like Harrell, and I think that he's going to be a little bit more pricey. I think you might be able to get Hassan, Whiteside, or LaMarcus Aldridge on the vet minimum. I don't think Harrell would be willing to take the minimum, even if it meant playing for contender in Boston. Keep in mind, Rich Paul is his agent. Now go down, like this video if you love the C's. If you're all about the Celtics, give us a like on this video because we're trying to grow the channel. We want to become one of the best Boston Celtics channels on YouTube, and the Knicks channel's catching up to us, so we don't want that. Like this video. The more likes we get, the more people come across our channel. Hit that thumbs up icon if you're all about the Boston Celtics. Let's get into another big man. That is Dwight Howard, a big name. He'd be a free agent target. Doesn't appear that he's returning to the Lakers because they got Thomas Bryant, someone who the Celtics were after. So let's talk about Dwight. Still somewhat durable, 60 games played last season. Obviously, he's getting up there in age, but 6.2 points per game, 5.9 rebounds per game. The year previously, he was really solid off the bench for the 76ers, and then, of course, the year prior, he won a championship with the Lakers as their backup center. He's a decent option. Yeah, the age is a concern, but he did play in 60 games last season. Not bad. He did miss 22 games or whatever it was, but he did play in 60 games. He did put up decent numbers, and everyone loves him in the locker room. He seems to be, fan favorite. He seemed to be a fan favorite in LA and in Philadelphia, so I would not mind bringing Dwight in, but I think there's better options out there. Here are some of those other options. So I want you to go down, pick a backup center. Are you like me and want Hassan Whiteside? Type HW. Do you want LaMarcus Aldridge? Type LA. Do you want Montrezl Harrell? Type MH. Or do you want Dwight Howard? Type DH. It's the pinned comment on today's video. When ad break comes, go down. Let me know what you think. I think I want Hassan Whiteside, and I think he's going to be pretty cheap. Might be cheaper than Montrezl Harrell. Here is a trade target in terms of the center position. That is Jakob Poeltl, someone who I think a lot of our subscribers want to trade for. Now, it's interesting with Poeltl because he's a starting caliber center. So if you trade for him, would he be okay with maybe backing up Robert Williams, or would Robert Williams be okay with backing up Poeltl? That's what you got to figure out. But somewhat similar to the Brogdon situation, right? You trade for him, and before that trade, Brad Stevens called Brogdon's agent and is like, hey, he needs to embrace the six-man role if he comes here. Maybe Poeltl would be okay with going to a contender and playing off the bench, but he's a potential trade candidate with the Spurs in a rebuilding phase, and he was phenomenal last season in San Antonio, 13.5 points per game, averaging nearly a double-double with 9.3 rebounds per game, also really solid on defense, 1.7 blocks per game. I like Poeltl. I don't know how realistic it is that he gets traded to Boston, but it would be very, very interesting to see if that goes down. Let's talk about the Summer Celts, man, and the Summer Celts are rolling. Another win last night, this time beating the Memphis Grizzlies. Final score 108-91. JD Davison went off. It was a lot of fun to watch Davison in action for the Celtics. Yesterday, he tallied 28 points, 10 assists, and, the previous two games, it was just a combined 10 points. So, really, that was an important game for him to come out and show what he could do offensively. Fiondu Kabengele, not his best game, 7.7 rebounds, so not the same scoring production as we saw from him. And then the Celtics are still winning, even with Matt Ryan and Sam Hauser out. Those two did not play again, and they still won again, improving to 3-1 in the Summer League. But obviously the story is JD Davison, 28 points, 10 assists, 5 rebounds for Davison in his best game in a Celtics uniform. Someone who I'm really excited about. When the Celtics took him, I gave him an A grade. I gave that pick an A grade, and there were some mixed feelings down in the comments. A lot of people were confused why they were adding another point guard to the roster, but I knew what Davison could bring to the table, hence why I gave him an A, and I am sold on JD Davison. Are you sold on JD Davison? Go down in the comments section and let me know. Type S for sold, or if you're still having doubts about him, go down, type NS for not sold. I understand just one game that he played exceptionally well in, but that was a really good sign. And we're going to be able to watch him one more time, either on Saturday or Sunday. So the results today are going to impact who the Celtics play in terms of their last game, because it's all about playoff seeding or something like that. So they lost to the Heat in their opening game and then beat the Bucks in that wild game when Matty Ice pulled up at the buzzer and then rolled over Golden State. That was a very impressive win because Golden State has a bunch of lottery picks on their roster, like Jonathan Kuminga and James Wiseman. I can't keep track of all the young talent they have over there. And then Grizzlies, they defeated them last night 108-91. Very impressive win. Celtics were in cruise control throughout the entire game. We'll get to see the Summer Celtics in action one more time this weekend. Be sure to go down and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate you all watching. This has been Will Scott with Celtics Today. Go Seas.